So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation tonight. Very happy to be here. That is the AC outside. It's nice. So I actually, on a proponent of Pascal Nerfusing, that was the news. Okay, d'accord. Maybe I'll speak louder. So I'm a proponent of Bitcoin, obviously, and yet I do not own Bitcoin. Ooh, bad. And the reason I don't own, to answer to your question, I don't own any other crypto than Chiliz, which is the token we launched 6.5 years ago from Malta, we're actually single years of this. It's because as the founder, quote unquote, of what I'm doing, I need to be committed exclusively to what I'm doing, which is my work. And so I don't want a community of token holders to actually seek that the CEO, founders, or whatever is actually trying to diversify himself and or spending time on other projects. So, for example, I barely invest in anything, despite all the opportunities that are coming to me because of what I'm doing. But also, this is back in the years, you know, there was a lot of ICOs and people say, hey, I'm going to give you tokens if you need to be like a board member or ambassador or whatever. And I always said no to that quote-unquote free money because, again, I want, at least for me, I want to be focused on what I'm doing and especially to respect the token holders that we have. So my answer to your question is I don't own any tokens at Chiliz.
Alex, you passed the test. This was a trick question. Because you never disclose what you hold, and of course here we have a very clean light, only Chiliz, and that's amazing. But before we talk too much about Chiliz, every one of us has started eventually, or maybe you're starting your blockchain journey today. When did you discover blockchain technology? What was your genesis moment?
I had many. So one was in 2014 in Iceland, mid-September 2014. I'm walking in Reykjavik, and there is this mini market, mini bar, whatever. And there is this green at the time, anyway. There is a green sticker where you can say you can pay with bitcoins. This is cool. This is a nice country. They are super advanced. Didn't ring a bell too much. I was pretty much a geek before, for the last 45 years, but I never really looked at the tech, and most importantly, at the beginning of crypto before very much late 17, which today looks early, but it's actually still very late for me. And had few moments. So first one is this one. Another one is if you go my Twitter or X feed, you will see posts from 2014, I think, as well, where I said that Bitcoin is a scam, which is bullshit, it should never exist. And the reason I haven't deleted them is actually to show that if you learn about something, then you can change your point of view. And I think it's important for so many of us and so many of all the people that are not here tonight that if you learn about Bitcoin, if you learn about crypto, blockchain, whatever, what it means, then you can actually understand why it matters. Because it does matter. And it will matter more and more. It's not just about the 100K. It's what it means behind it. And so, yeah, many moments. But then, very selfishly, I will always remember someone that was in the gaming industry, which I was before, and that was a very big name for those who weren't in the gaming. I don't know if they're already here. But there was a guy called, he's still alive, called Calvin Ayre, was the founder of Portal.com and few other stuff, the legend in gaming. And I remember in early 2017, him posting on Facebook, it was before startup, there was Facebook, just for it all. He was posting every second week, every second days, Bitcoin is going to reach $1,000. Bitcoin is going to reach $2,000. And every fucking time, the guy got it. And I was like, this is something. And I'm ashamed of saying that I was also interested by the monetary or is the market that it represents. But somehow it's also because of Calvin Ayre, which is not very loved right now by the crypto community because it's behind the DSV. It's called Satoshi Vision. And that doesn't go very well. But it's the best day.
Everything is better than Peter. So you said like the real moment for you was around 2017 when you read okay.
Actually, I will tell you the exact moment. So I come from the poker industry, and every single poker players that I knew at that time were trading in crypto. Why? Because it's more or less very similar. It's about having an edge of others. It's 24/7. It's global. It's offshore, etc. Trading perspective. And we are early July 2017. Every year there is something called the World Series of Poker. It's the World Cup or the other big games actually of poker. And there is a player that I know that tweeted something very funny, which was, if you were to make money in the World Series of Poker in 2017, your best move as a poker move is actually to own Ethereum. It was not about making a poker move. It was not about a rule that changed, or type of game that changed. It was about betting on crypto. And that was really actually the real moment. This guy was called Sam.
And there was also around the time when you launched Chiliz.
So Chiliz was launched, I'll tell you, it's exactly 7 years ago. I decided on a road trip, end of 2017, and we officially, finally, we were at that time one block away, just here.
I know you're practically our neighbor. But you 2 years to come over.
Fighting, yeah. But that was my first office, or the first office of Chiliz was just here. The other one is not. It's too bad. Is that my fault if I didn't see you? I was like, you know. Because I was on Facebook stick.
We're happy you're here. We're happy you're...
So no, it happened. So I always use that date, but it's more or less 6th of January 2018. Come back to the office after our holidays, go to my team and say, do what? Could I launch it? Okay. And it's going to be called Chiliz.
But like, what is the problem that Chiliz is trying? The original problem you try to solve. That's what we want.
So unlike a lot of blockchain businesses that are trying to create problems that they are solving, we actually try to solve a real problem. And the real problem was the following. 2016, we launched a poker league called Global Poker League, more or less esports kind of NBA, NFL poker league. We raised money for the 4.5 million, launched a league, did that in the US, didn't work, but we did everything, we have teams, we have everything. So we own a sports, we own literally franchises, so teams. We have people watching our stuff, but we don't know how to monetize that. And the more we brainstorm about this, the more we say to ourselves, well, we could tokenize this cube. So there is the Paris Aviator, there is the London Royal, and all that stuff. We could create tokens for them and for them to decide what the teams are going to do in the league that we own. Because we own 100% of the ecosystem, we can do that. The more we think about it, the more we realize that we are nobodies, nobody cares about poker, nobody cares about what we've done. So instead of trying to do that for ourselves, we started to consider to do that for others. And we realized that there was an appetite to create a way to monetize fan bases of sports team. And I would take football first because that's the biggest sport in the world. But 99% of sports fans are not in the stadium, not in the city, not even in the country of the team that they are supporting. And that's true for all the biggest teams in the world. That's less true from Zira FC and Valletta FC. But for Barcelona, PSG, and all these guys, this is very true. There is 50,000 people in the stadium, there is 250,000 people in the city that cares, and then there is 50 million people that are found. And so we thought about what can we create that is valuable for a fan and scalable for a team. And we invented the concept of fan token. The idea was to give a voice to a fan that wherever they are in the world, they actually can matter for the team that they are supporting. In fact, before we called that fan token, because as I told you, we wanted to be a voice to the fans, we wanted to call that a voice token. In March 18, when I started to pitch to raise money, we're going to launch a voice token, everybody thought we were launching a Skype, or when you take your new phone profile. So we had to change from voice token to fan token, which was explaining a little bit more what we were. Fast forward, today at least, we are 300 people, 120 in Malta, few up. One is very busy and all here. And we have 9 offices all over the world. We tokenized, and that's really your question, what we tokenized, but we tokenized 80 football teams, actually 80 sports property, as it's not just football team. And that's an elite picture of the joint.
Exactly, that's also what we're going to talk about. It's from stadiums to blockchains, you tokenize sports, but we are looking beyond that. Before we get to that, I would like to know, like you told us about the starts of Chiliz, but really, what is your end game now?
There is no end game. That's the beauty of what we do because there is no end game because the space we've worked with, both from the technology perspective and from an industry perspective, is limitless. There is really like an unlimited amount of ways we can invent or create or launch. Now, as I give you some kind of fun fact or anecdote. Is it anecdote? I guess. When we signed our first team, or rather when in summer 2018, when we started to talk to football teams, because the topic is stadium to blockchain, well, guess what? We had to reach out to all the big football teams in the world, go after them, and trying to convince them that, hey, blockchain is the future. You should do something together. But I'm going to disappoint you quite a lot, because the only thing that matters at that time was money. There is one thing I learned now after 7 years, but it was true in already early 18, is nobody wants to be first, but nobody wants to be last. And in the football skills, right, the sports skills. And so everybody is a bit scared. It will be of summer 2018, after the Bitcoin 20,000 going down to 6K. And everybody is scared of crypto. Crypto is bad, crypto is heavy, crypto is money laundering, we are all scammers, blah, 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 blah. And so you talk to brands that are 50 years old, 150 years old, 125 years old, etc. And you're trying to convince them that you want to use their brand, you're going to try to monetize their fan, leave your own technology, with your own team, and for that you're going to try to bring money to them. When what made us successful, and I'm not afraid to say that, two things made us very successful between 18 and 2018. One is we raised $60 million in June 2018, so we were very lucky to raise money at the right time, even though it's actually technically much less because we got all of this in Ethereum and Bitcoin, and of course I thought it was going to go higher than TTA or much more, so I ended up having like 2-3 times less eventually, but whatever. And we got lucky because we raised money. We got lucky because when you have money, football clubs have to listen to you. Meaning that, hey, I want to invest and be a partner and I want to launch something that's going to generate revenue, the door is open. If you come to say, I have an amazing technology and my printer is better than yours, nobody cares. If you come with the printer and also a little bit of money that's going to help them to print, that's a different stuff. And so we got very lucky in our ability to talk to these football teams and sports property. And the two first ones that signed was Juventus and PSG, and that was cool. But the real thing that made us very successful, and that's painful sometimes to say, is COVID. COVID was an accelerator of our business. Why? Because during COVID, every single football club had no more fans in the stadium. Like literally, 0 people are allowed in both of stadiums in both of countries. What does it mean? It means that if you own a football team, suddenly you have all your, what they call match day revenue going to 0, meaning that there is nobody in the stadium. And so we come with a solution where we say, you see guys, you have nobody in the stadium, but it should not matter for you because you still have 100%, not anymore 99, but 100% of your fans are actually outside of the stadium. So what can you create that is valuable, scalable, and how can you monetize your fan base? And that's the COVID years, 2020 and 2021, that completely boomed and helped us to create what we are today.
Son of a gun. So, that's amazing, but like, how are you going to apply these lessons learned to other industries? Because now it's no longer only about tokenizing sports. There is many other opportunities. Everyone is talking about tokenizing real estate. When I ask about your end game, what are you going to do next? Because you're going to tokenize beyond sports now.
Yes, alors, it's more complicated than that. Because first, for the last 7 years, we did try to tokenize everything else, or not everything else, but we always say we are sports and entertainment. Why? Because sports is a category of entertainment as a medium. So, okay, we're going to go movie, TV, music, and many other categories like us. Well, I can tell you, we spent 7 years trying to find out what to do in that space. We still haven't found it, and actually nobody ever found it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but we haven't. So we are still exploring in some countries, especially Korea, who is very in need of entertainment and crypto. We're exploring it more there, but haven't found the formula or the product that will make tokenization or developers appealing in the movie space without being illegal, or in the music space or whatever. Just before COVID, I remember we were talking to was it Taylor Swift? I think it was on a concert of Taylor Swift. I was not talking to Taylor Swift, just to be clear. But we were talking to AEG, which is the promoter, and I think we were discussing like, hey, we could create tokens, or we were talking as well to Tomorrowland in Belgium, which was cool, but nothing happened because COVID happened. So this time was the other way around. But yeah, no, so we haven't found what next after sports, so we're kind of doubling down on sports, first of all. And Chiliz became, and I see there is a lot of geek here and the tech people, at least for the question I already got before. So Chiliz became a layer one, a DDM layer one. And so we are focusing a lot on this in order to actually consolidate the fact that we are a dedicated chain for the sports and entertainment. We don't aim to change the world. We don't aim to revolution the finance industry. We don't aim to be the number one chain in the world. We just want to be number one in what we do already, which is sports and entertainment. Tokenization of real-world assets. I hate this, or this is a bullshit name, because first of all, most of them are securities, which is fine, but none of the regulation right now allows this at all. So even with MiCA coming in periods, you will not be able to tokenize a bidding, because if you tokenize a bidding, it's a investment, it's a financial product, whatever. And if you have this, then you cannot list it on Binance or list it on Coinbase whatsoever because it's a security. So there is always this. In the last 7 years, I've seen so many projects of people who wanted to do cool stuff. And it's true, the technology allows you to do a lot of cool stuff. But most of the times, they already get it in, though. Today, I was asked by one of you guys something that we looked at many years, which is the tokenization of a football player. In what? There is this guy, he wants to, it's a potential good football player, we're going to tokenize in, and when he's going to become Mbappe or Ronaldo, well, I will own 0.1% of his revenue because I own a token that gives me an access to him. That's amazing, but that's against the rule of FIFA. There is a clear rule for TPO, third-party ownership, since 10 years, it's currently in Malta. But that's illegal. So my point is, tokenization on the paper allows you a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that it's feasible. And we are still very, 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 very early of making this happen. This may change, by the way, the TPO on FIFA and tokenization of players. Technically, it's easy. You create a token, down. But the fact that you can make it scalable and legal, that will take for many years, if any, free.
Listen, Alex, you made Chiliz a success during COVID. You are big in Korea now. There's martial law coming. I'm sure he's gonna make it work. For the tokenization, his building over there where you have your office, we call this the Chiliz building. You have the building, you know about tokenization. MiCA might be a problem, but you know what? We have some lawyers here in Malta that might help. I am saying this because I just have to give a shout out to the people who are supporting us. WH Partners, they are crypto lawyers here in Malta. They are here in the house. And to be fair, it's all lawyers as well, so they're real. There you go, there you go. Great that they're here with us today. We have Sitby Staking. They run blockchain infrastructure nodes here in Malta with Maltese engineers, the Bit Research. They're doing analytical reports in different DeFi protocols. And we have Coin360. They do the heat maps. Now, when it comes to Simply, I was talking to you earlier about this, and this is something that we are very interested in. Chiliz is layer one, and you're trying to build out the ecosystem. So I read it is possible to run a blockchain node for Chiliz. Can anybody do this? How does it work?
You misread. So, yes, the Chiliz is a chain, therefore there are validators. It's a proof of stake. Well, actually, it's a proof of stake.
Authority.
Authority, yes, proof of stake authority. Because there is, so when we started Chiliz, it was a private chain. That's bad. We started Chiliz with a private chain, and that's also how we managed to onboard all the big football teams. Why? Because they didn't want their IP, their brand, to be damaged or tainted by illegal shit. So we had to create a chain that was dedicated to that. Well, it took us 6 years to convince more or less everybody that we were not scammers and that crypto slash blockchain is going to stay. So last year, we made Chiliz a permissionless-ish chain where it's a traditional chain. You can create your smart contract. You can create whatever you want as a DJ if you want. There is two things that are different. One is the validators are only approved by the governance, meaning that for the time being, you have Paris Saint-Germain, the football team, that is a validator. You have the Korean Football League, that is a validator. You have the French BD, state-owned electricity company, that is a validator. So the idea is, and I like to say that, and especially in front of users that is more crypto ethos, we are not a Web3 company. We are a Web 2.5, Web 2.6 sometimes, but we think that our journey is not about to decentralize everything. It's a journey, and it's going to take another 10 years to get where we should be, and that's fine. But we need to educate, and education means that you need to make compromise sometimes. And one of them is to not be fully decentralized, because we work to protect the fact that we have partners, sports team, that needs to be protected. Why? Because their brands are 125 years old, so we have to be more careful. So Chiliz as a BVN has validators, but the validators right now, they started, they were 11 because they were football players. We changed to 12 last week. It was voted by the governance. And step by step, we're going to onboard more and more validators, but they have to be strategy. The last one we onboarded last week was Mercado Bitcoin in Brazil, which is one of the biggest exchanges in Brazil.
Listen, nobody is more trustworthy than Crypto Hub Malta. Alex, you passed the test again. Don't trust, verify. You mentioned this yourself. There are many scams. There are many bad actors in the space. Next year, we are planning a meetup with the title of Solana Banana. Banana Solana. Because of the meme coins on Solana and the meme coin trenches. What do you think about the current hype about the meme coins, and where do you want to position Chiliz?
So as an entrepreneur, stop it. As an entrepreneur slash dreamer of what we do, I hated meme coins. Then I became slightly pragmatic for a few reasons. Same as Bitcoin, actually, I guess. Now at least we are a chain. We launch a chain. What do we want on the chain? We want transaction. We want people to trade. We want people to transact. We want people to build stuff. And guess what? Meme coin is what people want. Most importantly, that's going to be very controversial. What is a fan token? You could argue, what is a meme coin? A meme coin is a fan token of a digital community. A fan token of Barcelona is a token of the community of the fan of Barcelona. There is an argument that meme coins and fan tokens are actually the same thing, just from different communities. We are historically working on legacy communities, so traditional brands, but maybe, it's a big if, but maybe meme coins, like whatever they are the new digital community, and it does make sense for them to have a token that is affiliated to it. And so last year, and it took us a year to get there, we thought like, okay, we're going to launch a game code. Because 9 months, don't ask me what, why. But we worked on that. There's a team that worked on that. And we did an airdrop. It's going to be a bit technical, but there is a lot of technical here. So we did an airdrop to every single Chiliz token holders that are on Chiliz Chain 2, so the VE chain, in partnership with the exchanges. And so we launched a token called Pepper, because Pepper and Chiliz, get the joke. And we launched that, and it's actually going to be a big priority for us in 2025. And right now, so that's what we call a fair launch, meaning that there was no VC, no ICO, no pre-sale, no team. We don't own tokens that were given to us as employees. Only the people who had Chiliz were able to farm, makes sense as well, peppers. And now today the market cap of the market cap is $20 million for something that didn't exist 2 months ago. It took us 9 months to do it. But we are, and I'm not talking about money, but about the fact that we have ambition on paper very similar to the pudgy penguins. You familiar with pudgy, the penguin? Go ahead, pudgy, the penguins, the cute. No, the cute little penguins NFTs. The what? Are you some other guy?
No, I'm not like us.
Anyway, so there is a project that I really like is I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but the Pudgy These ones, the other penguins. So the NFT collection with 10,000 NFTs, and we actually yesterday announced they are launching their token, which will make their NFT collection going up 47% in a week. But very much inspired to what they do because they created the penguins. And now in Walmart in the US, in all the supermarkets in Walmart, we can buy the real penguins. That's freaking cool. And we are doing peppers, and peppers are cute. So maybe one day you're gonna be able to have cute little peppers with big eyes, because if you own a pepper token or pepper NFTs at some point. So I'm a little bit bullish on this, and yes, I hate meme coins, but I embrace them.
No financial advice.
Definitely not.
Alex, we have to speed run a bit through the Fireside chat. It's getting hot and spicy with the peppers, but I can see the audience is also getting hungry for you. So don't worry, there will be time for Q&A. Can I ask you a few quick questions just to clean it off my checklist here? You said something about regulation and MiCA,
Yes.
and I want to tie this up to the current development in the United States. Because you already said something about Trump, never mind about the politics, but it's good for the ecosystem. What do you think about MiCA regulation, the MiCA Act in Malta, European Union, and the current development in the US? It's a big question. Maybe you have a small answer.
You didn't say anything about Trump, except if you were here 3 weeks ago for the other thing. You were here for the Soho talks when I talk about Trump?
I follow you on Instagram past week. So it is actually what I time.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have to do a fun fact. It's not fun actually. It was an expensive fact. Early 21, we decided to invest in the US. We say, hey, you know what? We already conquer Europe, more or less, which is true. We have all the biggest team in Europe, blah blah blah. Let's have an American dream. We're gonna go in the US and we're gonna sign the NBA, the NFL, and whatever. Well, guess what? We actually did it. We signed 27 NBA teams, 13 NFL teams, the whole MLS, few other stuff, and the deals we had were in 21 and 22 was, okay, we're going to sponsor your team, and as soon as there is a regulation that allows us to launch a token in the US, we will do it together. That cost us the sum of $78 million over 2 years. But then in November 2022, something happened, FTX collapsed. We didn't have any money on FTX, but the whole dynamic in the US of crypto is good and it's fun became like, oh, crypto is definitely bad, and look at these guys. And the whole, everything changed from more or less one day to another. And we literally had to cancel every single deal we had, and we more or less lost $78 billion.
Alex, how is it possible? 2022, the war with Russia and Ukraine started. He didn't make it a success?
No, we actually even exited Russia because we had a team in Moscow. So we didn't. So we had to exit US. We had to pay everybody, which was very painful because we literally flushed out that money, throwing it into bin. Money we earned, but then we don't have anymore, obviously. And today, since the 5th of November, the question we're asking ourselves is, okay, is the money we managed to spend gracefully before is eventually going to be an opportunity for us to continue to talk to these guys? Well, in 21, 22, we were the only one doing what we were doing. Today, we are still the only one doing what we are doing. But in 25, when there will be a regulation coming, or at least a guidance coming in the US, suddenly there will be a lot of money available in the US market. Good for us, but good for everybody else. So suddenly, we're going to be in a situation where we could be fucked by being to have to compete with people in the US who have access to limitless amount of money. And so we're going to have to find our way. So the thing is, yes, US is a market for us, and yes, Trump is and it hurts me to say that, the bless for us. I knew it. I knew you knew it, and I knew that's why you asked. But guess what? It's like Bitcoin or meme coins. You know, you have to be pragmatic, and maybe sometimes you just have to embrace it. So yes, I do embrace Trump. No, having said that, there is many other countries where you can have fun as well. Not Europe, because there is Nika coming in few months. So at the end, I came in Malta 17 years ago. And the reason I came to Malta was because of regulation. It was the only country in EU where there was a clear regulatory framework that allows you to do the business that you want to do. Then it got copied. It expanded all over Europe, but that's how it started. And the thing is, regulation is an opportunity. You should never be afraid of regulation. You should just embrace it. So yes, you're going to have to change your business. You're going to have to get licensed. We are licensed. We as Socials, not Chiliz, but socials.com, the consumer-facing app that we have. We are registered / licensed in Lithuania, Spain, Italy, I don't know, many other countries. And of course, we applied here in Malta, and we got our in-app global license through it. And it will trigger, for example, for us, and that's something we will work in the next 2-3 years, is as a regulated entity, if you want to spend €5 even, on socials.com to buy your Paris Saint-Germain best team, on socials.com, you're going to have to send your KYC. So you're going to have to send your ID card, your utility bill, and all that stuff, just to spend €5. Why? Because we are deemed, rightfully, as a medium, as a platform that is more or less a crypto exchange, because we do custody and we do fiat to crypto. That's cool. But I'm a big believer that the regulation that exists today, they actually miss one big part, is the regulation or not of something that would be called utility platform, where I own a token of something and I want to buy that token and I want to use that token not as a medium of exchange, but to get the utility that that token is providing. And this does not exist in regulation anywhere in the world yet. We will try to work on that because we think it's very unfair. For example, NFTs, which are the rechangeable tokens, NFTs don't need to be regulated under MiCA. That's cool, but it means that someone can go and buy an NFT of a penguin for €1,000 and not being KYC'd, while if you want to buy a €5 PSG token, you actually need to be KYC'd. And that's wrong. It's on the principle, it's great right now, that's fine, but in the next 2 to 3 years, we need to change that. Either having NFTs be KYC'd, which is most likely what's going to happen first, or having additional regulatory framework that define a framework allowing more utility-oriented platform. So for us, Europe is a big market, but it's not only Europe. We are very big in Turkey, where our regulation came 1st of June. And same story, actually you need to be regulated that as a custody and as a fiat to crypto. There is regulation in Korea, in Japan. In Japan, for example, we've done a joint venture with one of the biggest financial conglomerates called SBI. So the idea for us is we want to be the brand, we want to be the utility platform, we want to be the token issuer, but then in every jurisdiction where we will go, we have to either be licensed ourselves or be licensed with a partner. And to conclude on that, something fun that happened in September, I think 23. Brazil is a very big market for us. We have like 400,000 users there. We work with the 9 biggest football teams. And super randomly, you have the equivalent of the chairman of the SEC local, which is it's called the superintendent of the CNMV, or CMV, who went on Twitter, made literally a selfie video, and he talked about fund tokens, which is the product we launched there with all these teams, where he was saying, yeah, this is legal, this is cool, this is a way for the teams to generate revenue, etc., etc. So we literally had Gary Gensler of Brazil talking about how cool were blockchain, how cool were the fund tokens, that's us, and how they should embrace that. That was a key moment for us because it helped us also to be more and more relevant in Brazil.
To summarize it, you wish for better regulation to free the Portuguese penguins.
Yes.
Free the penguins.
And free the penguins, and with that, we're gonna finish the Fireside. And we are going to transition into the Q&A.
Well, first, Jacob, can I tell you something about the wound I got? Please. So funny, the story of the moon, because it's actually, so it is really a piece of the moon. So there is more or less 500 kilo-ish of moon on Earth. There is 2 ways you can get moon rock in. on Earth. One is if you are close to the NASA guy, because they brought back like 200 kilo back in the years, but you cannot do anything about it. But it's of course reserved to the NASA or museum of the US. Or there are some private collection of moon rocks. And how do you get moon rocks? Well, guess what? When there is an asteroid that hit the moon, it creates a crater, and then a piece of that moon that's going to fly in space, and randomly, some of them manage to arrive next to the orbit of Earth, and after thousands or millions of years of doing this, and this, they go down and they land on Earth. And there is a beast called the Tselitine or Tselitine 001, something like that was discovered in 2019, which is a big piece. That then it was in Mali or in Mauritania, but I think it's Mali. And then was in a private collection, blah, 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 blah. And eventually it was sliced in different pieces. And this is one of the slices of the real moon. So it's not like it's a meteorite coming from space, which are discovered really on Earth. Oh no, this is literally coming from the moon, like the soil of the moon, and has been sliced. Which I'd like to remind you that actually the moon is also coming from Earth. When the moon was created, it's actually an expansion of Earth. Let's not get there, but it's important to know. So this is a piece of moon, and the reason I bought that in an auction was because, of course, I work in crypto, and as I said, if you see the Insta or whatever, instead of going to the moon, we brought the moon back to you because it's a little bit easier. So hopefully, with Bitcoin at 100K, by touching this, or looking at it, sorry, we're gonna go closer to 150 at the moment. What then?
We are a crypto-native community that aims to learn and share knowledge together. Join us at Soho, The Strand, every Wednesday to dive into our questions section live.